and comfy and not, I feel like so many of my podcasts, I like sit at the table and I'm just like fidgeting the whole time.
Yeah.
It's like such a struggle. Okay. Well, welcome.
I'm so excited.
Yeah.
It's
So,
cool.
so the, so the podcast is called Behind the Content.
Okay.
And so we are like, I always like to talk about all the things that go on behind the scenes. So I want to do like a quick introduction of who you are, what you do.
Okay.
And then also we're going to talk about like your journey of all the things that we've done together so far.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, I'm Jessica Waters, and I own J Miles Design.
What?
And I'm a virtual interior designer, but I also do in-person design if you live local in Atlanta. And I've loved having Kelly and her team help me with marketing. It's been amazing.
Yeah. It's been super fun.
So, but yeah, we take your space and we create it off your photos, and we source things and make it super affordable for you. So it's a really fun service.
Oh, for sure. It's,
So.
and you know, we get to shoot in your house all the time and it's so gorgeous. And then not only that, but we get to look at all of your clients and all of the things that you guys do. And it's really amazing.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. And just to give everybody a little history, we have known each other for a really long time. We
Yeah.
went to like high school together.
You took pictures of us when we were like, I don't even know. I think we were like 25, 26, and we had 2 dogs.
Young.
And those dogs aren't even alive anymore.
Yeah, young little chickens. I mean, those are the good old days.
I know.
But yeah, so we've known each other for a really long time.
And then somehow reconnected with
I
like a
know.
client experience.
I know. Yeah.
So.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah. Yeah, so it's been, you know, quite the journey, and I've loved, you know, watching even just like the time that we've worked together, all the things that we've done, and the evolution of what, you know, your business and your goals. And
it's funny, like at the beginning, it's like, all right, this is going to be hard.
Yeah.
Like we got to get in a groove.
Yeah.
Everybody's got to get in a groove, get to know me. I need to get to know how you guys work.
Yeah.
But then like a year goes by and you're like, wow,
Yeah.
this is like a lot easier.
Oh my gosh. Like today I came in, you know, and you guys had been shooting for a couple hours and you were like, yeah, we're done.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my gosh, that's
Yeah.
amazing.
But I mean, once you're more comfortable on the camera.
Yes.
But it's just so important to have the video.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing that I always like to talk about, because I don't think people really understand like what goes into this and like the commitment and not only from, you know, from you, but like, I mean, your whole team, you know, like they have to like, you know, block this time off. They can't get in touch with you. I mean, obviously there's an emergency, but you know, it's a big time commitment and dedication to growing your business and doing all of the things. And then also you're going through like this massive personal journey too.
Yeah.
So
just did the mommy makeover.
I know.
And
you look amazing.
Thank you.
And too, like, I really want to talk about, like, we'll get into it, but I want to talk about like your evolution on camera and how, because that's definitely the thing, talking about people don't understand like the commitment and all the things that go into it.
Yeah.
But I think people really underestimate, you know, they see people on social media, we consume so much content that I think we get numb to the fact that like those are actual human beings that are putting themselves out there and, you know,
like making content for the people.
Yeah.
So and can entertain you.
Yeah. And I think there's like a really like psychological disconnect when people consume content, because they just, you know, they judge it and they consume it and they, you know, look at it in such a different perspective. And it's so important as a marketing agency to think about that when you are making content. But, you know, when you are the subject, you know, you're dealing with all of your own personal, internal struggles. Yeah. And so I know from personal experience and working and doing this for so long that I think it's hard for people, and when we bring clients on and they put themselves out there, and then to get any kind of not even like negative feedback, but like feedback in general, I think always kind of hits differently.
And when you see yourself on camera.
Yeah.
You just get...
Yeah.
You know.
Okay, so let's dive into, let's talk about like the beginning of your journey. So when you first started working with us and you were working on, you know, you had just had Bo, you had just had it. I mean, like hats off to you. And that's why I was so excited to have you on, because I mean, you had Bo and you were like, let's go.
It was about 6 weeks later.
Yeah.
But I mean, I didn't want to do it.
Yeah.
But I knew that like, I couldn't not. Like, I had to do my marketing, whether I liked how I looked or not. Like, I had to keep going. It's funny. My girlfriends were like, I mean, if you hate it, like, why are you doing it?
Yeah.
Like, I have a business to run.
Right.
Like, I have to do marketing.
Right.
Like, and I have to be in it.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, and that takes a certain kind of person to do that. I mean, truthfully, because I feel like, especially as a woman, you know, we're so focused on, you know, working with men and working with women is it's very different. And not to say that men don't have insecurities, and that we have a lot of clients that, you know, that are men that do struggle with being on camera. But as a woman, I feel like we're just normally so judged anyway, that it's so much more difficult.
Yeah.
So when we started working with you, you just had a baby, and you had a hard time, you know, seeing yourself on camera, and we worked through all the different angles and things that you liked, and we got to know you.
So I was definitely critic of, like, I was just like, let's do the camera this way, and like I was trying to control it because I didn't like how I looked,
right,
which was bad on my end. But I mean, we got through it.
Yeah.
And, like, you know, at the end of the day, I knew people, like, I was on a mission to, like, change how I looked and felt and all these things. So I knew that people would see this transformation over a year.
Yeah.
And that was, like, my goal. And then I think also being on camera every month gave me even more drive.
Right.
So, you know.
Well, that's the thing, is, like, I think, you know, you have that motivation to, like, keep going, because you're like, okay, like, you kept seeing, every month we saw the progression, you know, we saw the changes and everything. But I also think that, like, to push through that, like, mental side where you're like, okay, like, I'm going to see the light of the tunnel, I'm going to see this through. Yeah. I mean, that takes, like, serious dedication. I mean, truthfully.
It was.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
Yeah.
But
hold your mic up. There you go. Yeah, I mean, I think that, so talk about, like, your experiences when you first started working with us. Were you, like, what were you feeling internally?
I was super nervous. Because, I mean, like, I didn't know the team.
Yeah.
And, like, I wasn't comfortable.
Right.
You know, so, and, like, I basically was miserable at the beginning just because I didn't like how I looked. Yeah. And I was, like, didn't know what to say. Yeah. But then I, like, had to let go of that. Yeah. You know, because I'm like, I do know what I'm talking about. I'm an interior designer. Like, right. I know what to tell the people.
Right. And I think that's also hard too, like, when you're consuming content and you're judging everybody else and what everybody else is doing. But as the person that's doing it, I think that it's so hard to, you know, you just truly have to sit down, and whether you have a team to hype you up or you sit down in front of the mirror or, like, whatever it takes, to really tell yourself, like, no, I actually do know what I'm doing, but I have to work through, because as soon as that record button gets hit, it's like every demon that you've ever had is, like, right there with you. They're just sitting on your shoulders.
Totally.
And so you have to, like, constantly remind yourself, like, no, I do know what I'm doing. No, I do know I can do this. And, like, it's just a consistent, you know, hype fest. I mean, you really have to just continuously hype yourself.
Totally.
Yeah. Yeah. So as time went on, and, like, what a great journey that you brought your audience on with you. Yeah. I mean, because, you know, your brand is so interesting because it's such a personal brand, but it's also, you know, a service-based business. Yeah. So, you know, you've done such a great job of marrying those two things together. And I think that it's really difficult sometimes for brands to do that and to, like, really commit themselves, and it pays off for you. Mm-hmm. I mean, it really does.
I just, you know, my brand, I wanted people to feel comfortable spending the money with me and making sure, like, knowing that, like, this money's going to a good thing. I'm not wasting any money. Like, I want people to feel when they watch my videos and all those things that, like, they know who I am. We're friends. Yeah. And
like, you do a great job.
Yeah. Thank you.
You really do. And I think that, you know, you have such a great group of girls that work with you. Yes. So you are J Miles, and then you have your team. Yep. And
I personally picked those people. I mean, I dove hard and long.
I mean, we talk about that. I feel like every time I see you, we talk about this, and you're like, finding good people to work with you and work on your team is it's just priceless.
Yeah, it is. And it goes like to people that own their own businesses. Like, that is the main struggle of being a business owner, is finding people you can trust.
100%.
And that are hardworking.
Yeah.
So,
and I think that, I've had the opportunity to meet your team several times, and they're so great. And they you can just tell, and you treat them so well, like you guys all feel like this, like, really great family. Yeah. And that's fantastic. I mean,
I hope they never leave me.
Yeah. I mean, I say the same thing about my team, I say the same thing. I'm like, God, like, if they leave me, like, what am I going to do? Like, it like stresses me out.
I made a joke to Ellie, my operations manager. I said, if you ever plan to leave, please tell me the second that you're leaving, and then you give me 6 months.
At least.
So I can make sure.
Yeah, no, at least. But that's amazing. So let's kind of talk about your overall inspiration, because I've heard the story, but I'd love to kind of share it with everybody. But just your overall inspiration as to why you started J Miles and, how you did it and all the things.
So I was in corporate world for 14 years. I sold advertising and marketing, and I had went to school for design, and then I kind of went an opposite direction at the end with marketing. And then I ended up getting this great job out of college. So it was just kind of like, I didn't even have the option to do design at the time, because I really couldn't turn down the job opportunity, because it was like the recession of like 2008. Yeah. So anyways, it was a great job. Taught me so much. It taught me why I am so successful at this job. Yeah. Like the sales aspect, the marketing aspect, like I understand it. I know I have to do it. Yeah. Whether I have to go into debt to do it or whatever. Yeah. Like you got to do it if you're going to own a business. Right. So, but then about 10 years in, I was starting to get like this itch. Like I miss, like I was just helping design friends' homes and like all these things. And like, it was just always there. And I was constantly changing my house, doing projects. And like our old house got me into this mode of like, dang, I think I can do this. Yeah. Like I'm going to do this. Yeah. So I looked over at my husband, Flint, and one night, and I was like, I'm starting a company tomorrow, and it's going to be called J Miles Design. And I'm not letting anyone change my mind. And he's like, you should do this. And he's like, don't tell anyone. And I was like, okay. So I started the Instagram page the next day, started Facebook, got a client 2 days later. Yeah. And like, it was crazy.
That's amazing.
I mean, it was just crazy. And then I was just like, oh my God, I just made $150. Oh my God. I was like, I think I can make money doing this. Yeah. And then I did it all virtual, and I even like drew out the rooms. Hand drew.
I love it.
Then I sent like I would love to go back and look at my like first design what we do today. Yeah. And it is like the biggest transformation ever.
Oh, for sure.
I should find that. We should make that a post.
I know. Yeah, I agree. that would be a good one.
But yeah, I mean, and then like I started, and then I did the business by myself for 4.5 years. Yeah. And did every design, stayed up late, worked my other job. Like, I mean, I did it all. I hustled.
You're a hustler, though.
I was exhausted. Yeah. And then one day I was like, okay, I've got to back away from my corporate job. Yeah. Like, it's time. Yeah. So I pulled the trigger.
Scary.
It was so scary. Yeah. And it was the best decision I've ever made. Yeah. I mean, I like literally live my dream like every day. Yeah. Like, working with these people and working with everyone in the country and designing and picking out lights, and like it still blows my mind. Yeah. So.
I think that's amazing, and I think it's so cool as entrepreneurs and businesswomen that, I think to tip your hat or to thank all of your experiences before, and be appreciative of them, because they are what got you here today. Because I kind of feel the same about shooting weddings. Like, I shot weddings for a really long time. Is that on my phone?
No, that's Flint's phone.
Oh, it is? Okay. Thank God. I thought it was my phone, and then I thought it was
Because you can edit this.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
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 If
No
he's
problem.
like talking.
Yeah. But I always think it's so great to, like, I shot weddings for 10 years, and I learned so much. And I learned so much about marketing. I learned so much about building a personal brand. I learned so much about social media in general and how it worked and like what works, what doesn't work, what people want to connect with. And so it just taught me all of these things that I'm so thankful for. And I think that that's such a big thing as an entrepreneur that, you have people that are starting businesses in their late 30s, 40s, 50s that have had all of this experience that has led them to where they are now.
Yeah.
And, it's not like they just all of a sudden we just got that, like all of your experiences in your 20s and, your life experiences and all the things. Because I too, I came out of college and I thought that I wanted to work in like the magazine world and like publishing and like all that stuff. And I got an internship down in downtown Atlanta. I think I worked there for like 2 weeks. And I was like, I cannot. I like literally cried to my mom and I was like, I cannot do this. But I'm such like I'm not a quitter. So like I did quit a lot of jobs in college, but
That's college.
It's college. So when I had this job, and everybody was like so mean to me down there because I was like this new girl and like whatever. So I went up to the editor's office and I had to like tell her, and I was so scared. And she was like, "Are you quitting?" I was like, "Yeah." She was like, "All right, bye." Like, just, if you ever want to come back, let me know. But I would like hype this like whole thing up in my head that it was like, but I just knew like, I was like, you can't burn bridges. You've got to be an adult. Like, this is all about, like making yourself uncomfortable, whatever. But, I tried the corporate life and I just could not, I couldn't do it.
It's hard.
But you did it for a long time.
Long time. I still can't believe I worked there for 14 years.
Yeah.
But it was, like I said, a fabulous job.
Yeah.
I mean, it paid great.
Yeah.
I mean, I was probably making more money than any of my friends at 20-something years old.
That's amazing.
And
so in a tough period in time.
But I was like, I was so driven and I was such, like, I mean, I was a very good salesperson.
Yeah.
Like I was, always winning awards and stuff like that. So like I was, really had that passion to sell something.
Yeah. And now, the cool thing is that you're making sales and you're making sales for yourself, for your own, because when you're making sales for somebody else, like it's a little empty, and now you're doing it for yourself and building this life that you always wanted.
I know.
And that's so cool.
I know. It's crazy.
Yeah. And I think that's like and I think that the people, either you're an entrepreneur or you're not. I feel like it's a very like cut and dry.
Yeah. Like I have, two people that work for me had tried their own businesses.
Oh,
and they're
really?
just like, it's not for me.
Yeah.
Like it's just not for me. I just want to do what someone tells me to do.
Yeah.
Go to work and that's fine.
Yeah.
I mean, this is not made for everyone.
No.
Like you said.
No.
So,
I think that you really have to be a certain type of person to be able to deal with it.
Yeah.
And
but it's funny, I never saw myself as a business owner.
Really?
It's funny because at one point in my job, they were trying to ask me if I would be interested in managing people. And I was like, oh, no. Like, I just want to sell.
Yeah.
Like, I just want to sell. And now that I'm a business owner and a boss to 5 other people, I'm just like, this is crazy.
Yeah.
I just didn't see that for myself.
Yeah.
So,
but I look at you and that's all I see.
As a boss?
Yeah. Well, I see you as like a very, strong leader.
Yeah.
And you are very dedicated to your job. You're very dedicated to your people. And I mean, I think that it seems to fit perfectly for you.
Well, that's cool.
Yeah.
I like outsider opinions.
Yeah. Well, it's always interesting to hear like what people's perspectives are of you.
I love that. I mean, it's like you don't hear that a lot.
Yeah. Yeah. And sometimes it's like, the closest people to you, like they have different perspectives, and then people that are, your peers or, but it's always a little interesting. But yeah, I mean, I think that that's great. But I always see you as like that person. Like I think that you fit into the role so perfectly because you have to be. I mean, like you said, I know people too that tried, have tried to whatever kind of business it is. And, when shit starts to go wrong, which it naturally does, that kind of pressure and stress and, especially when you are paying people, and things, you're having a slow month or whatever.
You
and
just people quit and they just go find another job.
Right.
Like they try it and then they stop.
Yeah.
So, there was no stopping for me.
No.
This was it.
No. And I mean, you've built this empire, and I think this year is going to be your biggest year yet.
I hope.
Yeah. I mean, it already is shaping up to be that way.
Yeah.
And so that's very exciting. But yeah, I think that's what I was saying about your brand. Like, you have done such a good job of marrying the personal brand and service-based business brand like so well. And I think a lot of the time businesses are afraid to go that approach, whether for a wide variety of reasons. I think that they feel that they would just want to push the product. They want to push them. They want to sell all of the time. And it shoots them in the foot 100% of the time. Yeah. Because nobody wants to engage with that. Yeah. Nobody wants to just be sold to all of the time. Like, we're watching television, we're on social media being sold to 24/7. And so the whole purpose of social media is to be social and connect with like-minded individuals. I mean, that's really like as basic as you can get. Yeah. And so if you're trying to sell something, like, let's try to, build some kind of connection with your ideal customer. Yeah. Rather than just pitch to, just like sell to them all the time, because they're going to be like, oh, they're going to turn it off immediately. Yeah.
And that's why I love sharing like my life and like outfits and, what I'm into. And like, it doesn't have to be design all the time. That's why I'm like, I want people to know who I am.
100%. And I think that opens yourself up for so many different so many different opportunities and marketing, strategies. Like, you've done so many great promotions and collaborations and all these different things with these like-minded people or brands that you know, like, and trust, that either that you already work with or that you would like to work with. And I think that is just such a brilliant strategy, because it just continues to build the brand awareness and build your brand to the next level. Yeah. So I think that that's, something that I wish more people were open to, because I think sometimes that they feel, again, talking about those internal demons and those internal struggles, they know and they can see what that's going to look like and how hard that's going to be, so they just don't do it. Yeah. And so it makes our job difficult, because we're just, basically selling all of the time, and it doesn't convert. And so it makes it very difficult to build a really strong marketing strategy when you don't have the business owner that is really, sold on the idea of building, a brand, a social brand.
And open-minded, too.
Open-minded, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
You got to be open-minded.
Yeah. So what advice would you give somebody that came to you? And I think you've talked about this a couple times, that people have come to you and they're like, I love your content, I'd love to do it too. And they're like, but I couldn't do it, or I couldn't be like you, or,
or I'm not ready yet. And I'm like, what are you not ready? Yeah. Like, what, like, it's almost like, it's a perfect example. I'm not ready to have kids yet. I want to make it, there's no perfect time. Right. Like, you know what I mean? Like, there's no perfect time for kids, and there's no perfect time to do your marketing. Right. Like, you should be doing it the second you start your business. Like, so, but like, I marketed a very different way for several years because I wasn't spending money on it. And, that's fine, like, but I was so small, and I also had another job. Right. So when it became, this was my life. Right. I was like, oh my God, I can't be posting on Facebook groups every day and like hoping for the praying, and this is a company. Yeah. Like, this is a real thing. Yeah. So talk about what your marketing was like pre-KB Media. Yeah. So I attacked Facebook groups. Yeah. You're still pretty good at it. I still do that. Yeah. I still do that. I don't let anything get past me. Yeah. But at the end of the day, they're a very, very good way to get out there. And also at the end of the day, Facebook is the #1 platform out there. There's nothing bigger. No. I think people fight that a little bit. They do. And they have a hard time with it. It's still the #1. It beats Instagram. It beats all that. So I feel like it is where people go for information. It's people where people go for referrals and
community
reviews, and it's like a second Google.
Yep.
I mean, so it's just really important. And it's where people spend the most time during their day out of jobs and out of everything.
Isn't that wild?
It's crazy.
Yeah.
So when I think about it, and it's like, I do ads now. I run ads on Instagram
Shout
and
out
Facebook.
Lauren.
Yeah.
We need to get
Lauren
her on here.
Goldman Gross.
Yeah.
It's like, oh my God, why have I not been doing this?
Yeah.
Like I'm about to transform I'm not going to have to work that hard.
Right.
I'm just going to be able to get in front of these people because this is where the people are all day.
This is where they are.
This is where they're spending time.
Yeah.
Google is great. I think everybody should probably do Google a small amount or whatever. But if you have a social media based company with a lot of content, you have no excuse for not running ads.
Right.
And it's just, it's got to be a part. Like if you're going to be a part of your team, like, and create all this content, like this has got to go somewhere else besides your profile.
100%. Yeah.
So you have to have that mix.
Yeah.
The one thing I learned in advertising all these years is that, like, I can't sell anything for you. Just like you can't sell anything for me, and Lauren, my ads girl, can't sell anything for me. My brand has to sell itself.
Yes.
And that message, we're going to get in front of the right people, but we have to make sure they want to buy because the message is so good. And that is just what people don't understand.
Yeah.
And that's knowledge that I know from being in that job for so long.
100%.
I was selling TV ads.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I can't sell your car for you on the car dealership, but I can put you in front of everyone.
Right.
So.
And I think that piece of information right there is so valuable.
Yeah.
And I wish, like you said, I wish people knew that more. And I think that as a business owner, I had to learn that the hard way. And not even the hard way necessarily, but like I think that you're trying to do all of the things as a business owner, as an entrepreneur, but selling is your number one thing. I tell my team all of the time, I have to keep the business going forward. Because you guys are out shooting, I can't do XYZ. I have to get us clients, or else we're all going to be SOL, right?
Yeah.
So, but I think it's so important to realize that, and I think that comes from a lot of different things that people, like I can't sell for you, you can't sell for me, but mostly because of either the knowledge base, the passion, the dedication to all of these things. Is it okay? Oh, okay. So no matter what, it never works, right? I've tried to do it with different employees in the past of trying to get them to sell for me. It never works.
No one is going to care about your business like you do.
No.
That's the only advice I can give. Now, you have to make, like Lauren, for example, and like having you have to find the right people.
Yeah.
If you don't, let's go back to like, because I could have just hired any ads person and they're just like clicking buttons
100%.
but like I found somebody with passion in my ads and making sure they work, because if they don't, then I can't continue.
Exactly.
I'm going to be poor.
Right. and ads are one of those things that, and again, shout out, plug to Lauren, that is people, agencies will take your money and and so ads are always like, that's a really big topic with a lot of my clients, because they want to do ads, or, they've had really bad experiences with people that, ran ads for them for a long time and they never saw anything and they spent so much money. And that's just, it's kind of just like in the industry, it's just one of those things that, because what I do is a lot more difficult. You can't fake it, right? Like you can't, either the content is, good or it's not good. Yeah. And so with ads, people don't understand it. So therefore it's more difficult to kind of, it's just like data and analytics and people don't get it. So when I see that my clients hire someone like Lauren and I start seeing their ads all over the place, I'm like, yes, thank God, because then it becomes a really awkward conversation of like, I'm like, hey, okay, so you've been working with XYZ for this ads person for 3 months and I haven't seen a single ad, you know?
Yeah.
So then you kind of start.
That's a problem.
That's a problem.
I mean, I hear every day people see my ads.
Yes, I see them all the time.
They're like, who is doing this?
I know. And that's a testament to her, you know, because she's putting it in front of the right people, which is great.
Yeah.
So, okay, so if you could give advice to somebody that is thinking about, you know, we didn't actually get into much of your marketing. Like, what were you doing before? Like,
so I would post in Facebook groups, tag my website.
Were you recording yourself? Were you...
No.
You weren't like setting up a camera and saying, hey guys, like.
Oh, well, like to get like marketing wise.
Yeah.
I was doing all of it.
Yeah.
So all my posts.
Because you did all of, you know, when you built this house, you did a ton of.
I did all this by myself.
Yeah.
Like, so I posted, I had my tripod, I did my thing, I used my iPhone for everything.
Yeah. So you had much appreciation going into this.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you know, my stuff did good. I mean, I had several little videos that went crazy and but yeah, I mean, it's just the ideas and I was running out of stuff. Like I didn't know what else to do. And like, I just, you know, I wanted to take it up a notch.
Yeah.
But it worked so well for the time being.
Yeah.
Just doing it on my own.
100%. And I think that just like anything, right? Like every one of our clients has the ability to do this on their own. It might, the production value might be a little lower or whatever, but everybody can do it.
Yeah.
You know, now the strategy, like you said, the ideas, the creative, all that stuff may not be there, but even just to get yourself started, you know, just to get yourself started and say, hey, like I am a fresh business, just started. I don't have, you know, I can't pay a retainer every month to have a team come in and shoot with me.
Yeah.
So, you know, even just shooting on your own, doing your own thing. I mean, I think that people will understand that it is a time commitment, but in the beginning, that's all we have. You know, we don't have money, but we have time.
Yeah.
And then when you start getting, you know, bigger and more successful, it starts to flip. That you have the money and you don't have the time.
Yeah.
And that's when I think that when that shift happens, that you can really, you know, that's when I think that hiring a team, an agency to take that over for you would be the right move.
Yeah.
For growth and all of those things. So if
you have to spend money to make money.
100%.
So
preach. Yeah. Preach. Like truthfully. So, okay. Last question. If you could give, you know, anybody, you know, let's speak specifically to women, because I feel like we are women and we both put ourselves out there on the internet. Yeah. So speaking to somebody that is thinking about putting themselves out there and they're struggling with all of these internal demons, they're struggling with their insecurities and the judgment and all of those things, what message would you tell them?
I mean, you have to work on your confidence. Mm-hmm. And at the end of the day, even though I didn't feel great about myself, I'm like, listen, like I have this awesome business and people like it. Yeah. And like, I just have to go for it. Yeah. And like, I mean, if you're going to hold yourself back just because like you don't like how you look or whatever, you don't like how you sound on camera, then like it's just going to hold your whole company back, you know? And so I just feel like it's really just about the confidence. Like you've got to build that confidence. Yeah.
And would you say that, you know, watching yourself go through this process, do you feel like your confidence was boosted?
Oh, yeah.
Because you feel like, okay, well, I got through this month. I can get through the next month. I can. So I feel like the transformation, your confidence just gets more and more.
Yeah. I mean, it's crazy.
Yeah.
Like just even watching the videos.
Yeah. And even, you know, even the way, you know, I remember when we first started, you know, we would have to do several takes, in the beginning.
I was so tired.
Well, you were so tired, but then you were also like, well, you were so focused on like how you looked and what you were wearing and how everything was going. Like you couldn't think about what you were actually saying.
Yeah.
And so, and now you do like maybe 2 takes.
I mean, I don't think I did 2 takes today at all.
Yeah. I mean, you like rushed through it, no problem. Like you've been doing it your entire life.
It's just amazing to see that like that kind of confidence. And and I just want to say this. It doesn't mean everyone's got to go get a mommy makeover and lose 70-something pounds. That was my journey.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, I just feel like you've got to make yourself feel more confident.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think too, like a past client told me, she was like, you know, she's like, I just have to tell you this, that, you know, she worked with us for 2 years, and I met with her the other day, and she was like, I just have to tell you that, you know, I hated shooting with you. Every single time I had to work through these inner demons.
Yeah.
I had to work through all of these insecurities that I had.
Yeah.
But you know what? The hell if it didn't make me get over my shit.
Yeah.
You know, she said, I can now, she said, I just walked off of a stage of 200 people and public spoke and gave a presentation, and I could have cared less because I worked with you for 2 years. And
I mean, honestly, I feel like I should do something like that.
100%.
Like once you get, it's like, okay, yeah, let's set up a room of 400 people.
Yeah.
And let me go talk to them.
Let's do it.
Like,
let's go sell some stuff.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
I mean,
No, I really think you should. I foresee you in the next, it could be sooner than 5 years, but I foresee you being a really large leader in the interior design education space.
Yeah, that'd be so cool.
I think that you are so perfect for it. You've built this business on your own. You've learned all of the things. You've made the mistakes, and you're so personable. And you have the confidence to go teach and educate and help people. And not only that, but you are such a giving person.
Yeah.
You know, like you truly want the best for your clients, the best for your team, the best for your family. So I think that's where I see you for sure.
That'd be so fun.
Yeah. Let's make it happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
All right. Well, thank you so much
Oh
for coming on today.
It's so fun.
Of course.
Loved it.
Yeah.